Hello and welcome to NAFDAC and Your Else. My name is Tosing Omolaja and this is the program that brings you all the important information you need to know about NAFDAC. The agency is saddled with the responsibility of safeguarding our health by ensuring that the foods, cosmetics, medical equipment made available to us are safe and wholesome. Nigeria received its first set of COVID-19 vaccines early this month, March 2021. This means that a few millions of Nigerians can begin to receive the vaccines, and therefore, Nigeria might also be on its way to stamping out the dreaded corona. For almost 1 year before its arrival, NAFDAC had been working round the clock in preparation for the vaccines. Staff and officers of the agency received training that focused on the vaccine across various capacities.
NAFDAC has been working since April last year, getting ready for the vaccines. And our staff in R&R, Registration and Regulatory Affairs, DER, Drug Evaluation and Research, Pharmacovigilance, Post-Marketing Surveillance, Laboratories, all these 4 directorates have been meeting almost every week in preparation. And that led to the guidance that is on our website, www.nafdac.gov.ng. You will see a vaccine image. You click it. You will see the guidance that we've been working on. NAFDAC is the first African country to write the guidance.
Several committees were set up to evaluate all the different angles and elements associated with the various vaccines. These committees meet weekly to review and align with global developments as well as local issues.
What we do is to come together after reviewing all the various aspects of the vaccine, including the quality, the clinical aspect, the risk management plan. We come together, we review the entire report and find out if the benefit of taking the vaccine or approving the vaccine outweighs the risk involved in the vaccine, in the risk associated with taking the vaccine. And so if this is the case, as the benefit outweighs the risk, then we can consider that vaccine can be considered for approval.
Whether it is drug or vaccine, any regulated commodities must be approved by NAFDAC. If we don't approve, I will advise against using it.
With all set parameters met, the AstraZeneca vaccine became the first vaccine to receive the emergency use authorization by NAFDAC. To ensure that the process of delivering these vaccines to Nigeria is seamless and that the quality of the vaccines can be guaranteed, NAFDAC worked and continues to work tirelessly in collaboration with several other organizations and regulatory bodies, both within the country and internationally.
It is not just that we are working at the country level. NAFDAC is one of the 4 countries or one of the regulatory agencies in Africa that is on the African Union Smart Safety Surveillance Steering Group. And the African Union Smart Safety Surveillance is all about monitoring of commodities, of drugs, medical products, things like that. We have pharmacovigilance being represented there, our pharmacovigilance, and somebody from primary health. So we are working collaboratively at the country level and also at the continental level. MHRA, which is the FDA equivalent in UK, is working with us on this. Bill Melinda Gates Foundation is working with us at the continental level. The COVAX facility has arranged that 20% of each country's population, that 92 countries on the list, that 20% of their population will be given free vaccines, which means about 40 million people in Nigeria Nigeria will receive 40 million doses of the vaccines.
NAFDAC has put several measures in place to ensure issues like adverse reactions and ability to track and trace these vaccines are done impeccably to ensure the safety of every Nigerian that receives the vaccine as well as any other drugs.
We are going to use what is called track and trace, traceability, to ensure that the vaccines leaving the manufacturer is the vaccine that you and I will get. Because as we speak, there are fake COVID vaccines already. So what track and trace will do is a technology-driven supply chain monitoring. What track and trace will do is that it will identify if there is infiltration in the supply chain, if there are fake medicines that have been mixed, fake vaccines that have been mixed with the genuine one. So we are using track and trace, and Nigeria is the second African country that will be using track and trace. We are working together with Ethiopia because the regulatory agencies of the two countries have been trained to a great extent in that technology. It's a GS1 technology. That is what we're going to be using. And our own staff here, the technical working leader, is also working with the technical working person from Ethiopia. So this way we know where the vaccines are. And it's not just because it's going to be a global positioning monitoring. So you get you get an address of a particular healthcare center, you figure out where the global positioning is, so that when we scan at the ports of entry at the airport, when we scan it, we already have the master data or the original data from the manufacturer. And if it is in Calabar, after distribution or at the distribution point in Calabar, it will tell us that yes, and it is this batch that entered the country that is now in Calabar, and 100 patients or subjects will be receiving them. We will also note through the track and trace the number of people that will be getting it, because bear in mind, it is from manufacturer to the patient.
Traceability is a key factor that the agency has put in place in accordance with global best practice.
We talk about traceability. Traceability to secure the supply chain, to be able to know the source and monitor the product through the supply chain up to the patient, so you make sure you don't have infiltration of substandard or falsified product, because you cannot rule that out. Because as it is now, the demand for the vaccine is high. There is not enough vaccine for everybody. So because there isn't enough to go around for everybody, you have to do a prioritization of that need to see that those who need it most get it first. So it's not impossible for those to sit and start thinking of, oh, because there is a need that is unfilled, we now look to have substandard or falsified product. So if you have traceability in place, that allows you to track the products, and you will know if something comes in that is not part of the legitimate supply chain, and you'll be able to protect patients.
We'll take a short break now. Don't go away.
The MedSafety app is the latest reporting tool introduced by the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control in November 2020 as part of the Innovative Medicines Initiative project. The app is made available to the public in collaboration with World Health Organization, Uppsala Monitoring Center, Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, UK, and National Agency for Food, Drugs and Administration and Control, NAFDAC. The MedSafety app allows users to track safety information of medicines, vaccines and other health products, report adverse drug reaction to a medicine or vaccine, and view data on suspected side effects. When you have received your COVID-19 vaccine, you can use the MedSafety app to report any adverse reaction or side effect you may feel. The app can be used by anybody, irrespective of whether you are a medical practitioner or not. You, your family, and friends, everyone can download and use the MedSafety app to report adverse drug reaction. Just search for MedSafety on Google Play Store for Android and App Store for iOS. When using the app for the first time, the user needs to select his or her region. In this case, Nigeria, and also choose the preferred language of choice. The user will then be taken to the login page where you create an account by providing your email and password, or proceed as a guest. To create an account, you are required to provide the following details: reporter type, example, physician or pharmacist, as well as their name and email address, password with at least 9 characters with 1 uppercase letter and a number. Read the privacy statement and accept. Once you are logged in, the user is presented with a number of tabs, which includes news, products and watch lists. Under the Report tab, the user can report a new suspected adverse drug reaction ADR. On opening a new report, the user is prompted to input patient details, which include initials, sex, and date of birth. The user is then required to input details of the suspected medicine. These include suspected medicine name, other drug details such as strength, batch, dosage details. Multiple suspect drugs and concomitant drugs can be added at any time. The report can be saved and completed at a later time. A saved report can be found on pending reports and can be continued by clicking on the report and continuing from where the user stopped. Enter reaction details, reaction date and outcomes. Multiple suspects' reaction can also be added. Also, further details about the report can also be included, such as did the reaction cause prolonged hospitalization, disability, congenital anomaly, or birth defect, life-threatening results in deaths, and so on. Finally, you can also add details of any relevant medical history before submitting the report. The user receives a message on the app confirming submission and an acknowledgement in the mail for submission. Reports can be created and saved without internet connection and be sent whenever internet connection is available. The product tabs show all medicines in the NAFDAC list database. It's easier to navigate to a drug or vaccine of interest, and this data is obtained from the WHO Uppsala Monitoring Center. User can also add products of interest to their watch list to get the latest information on the drugs. All products added to the watch list can be viewed in the watch list tab. The News tab displays drug safety information by NAFDAC. This is usually up to date with drug safety information. Registered users can also edit their profile or change app settings. For more information on the app, please contact the National Pharmacovigilance Center (NPC) at NAFDAC headquarters, plot 2032, Olusegun Obasanjo Way, Wuse Zone 7, Abuja, or call 09290511110 or send email to medsafetyapp@nafdac.gov.ng or pharmacovigilance@nafdac.gov.ng.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching NAFDAC and your else. Beyond traceability, the agency has also stepped up its pharmacovigilance apparatus, familiarizing with all the elements of the vaccines being approved in the US, UK, and EU.
What we are doing as we speak is to highlight each segment of the approval for the two countries, FDA and US rather, and Europe, so that if there is any side effect, adverse drug reaction, we will know that, okay, these are the type of things that we should be looking for. Because we're going to do active pharmacovigilance. Active pharmacovigilance meaning it is not somebody sending us data and then after 1 month we collate. No. Our staff have been trained to the state level, pharmacovigilance in Abuja, and also the staff at the different states, to go after the data, to work with healthcare workers.
One very key concern of many people across the globe, as far as these COVID-19 vaccines are concerned, is adverse drug reaction. People fear for the effect of the vaccines on them. Whilst NAFDAC guarantees that no vaccine will be administered on the Nigerian population without the agency first verifying that it is safe for use, it has also put measures in place to ensure that cases of adverse drug reactions are seamlessly reported. An intelligent new addition to Nigeria's adverse drug reaction reporting mechanism is the Med Safety app, which was launched in 2020. This app will be crucially important with monitoring the effects of COVID-19 vaccines in Nigeria.
As it will happen, the Med Safety app that we just launched about 2 months or 2.5 months ago was developed by MHRA. And the MHRA, now working with us at the continental level, makes it easier for NAFDAC to use that technology to monitor side effects, adverse drug reactions that may be observed after the immunization. And it's a neat, simple app that anybody can download. And our own pharmacovigilance is already training different health sectors to download and to know how to use it. So that if somebody, the vaccine is in Calabar or Ibadan or wherever, the healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, and others will have known how to use it. So that if somebody is given the vaccine, of course there will be a WhatsApp communication or text messaging. Okay, your arm is a little tender today, or you have fever. You can easily text the healthcare worker, and then they will enter it. And if it is an educated consumer or educated person that received the immunization, that person can actually use it and record what he or she is experiencing. So the Med Safety app is very neat. And the goal of the AU level involvement is to ensure that we have an African vigilance database. Because you may observe some clinical outcomes in Caucasian population. You may not observe the same in an African population. Many times they are similar, but sometimes they are not. So this will give us an opportunity to look inward. Okay, the way people are reacting to it in South Africa is different from the way people are reacting to it in West Africa or in Central Africa or whatever. So we can actually find out whether there are ethnic differences. Aside from that, we can compare our own data with Europe. We can compare it with the US. So it's very neat initiative once we start the process.
To effectively achieve its goal of active pharmacovigilance and ensure proper and efficient COVID-19 vaccines adverse reaction reporting, NAFDAC is again working in collaboration with several bodies.
Currently, there are so many technical working groups that are not only limited to NAFDAC. It's like a countrywide national Nigerian COVID-19 vaccine technical working group, which comprises of different stakeholders from different streams of life, looking at the national primary health care, looking at members from NAFDAC, looking at partners from WHO, UNICEF, CDC, NCDC, and others that have a stake to ensure that the right vaccines are received in Nigeria, and with respect to safety monitoring, that every surveillance system is put in place to ensure that people who receive the vaccines are well monitored. And if there are cases of adverse events following immunization as a result of the COVID-19 vaccine, they are documented appropriately. Now, we are not looking at it based on country basis, but rather having a multi-country approach to safety monitoring. So the AU3S, it's a smart safety surveillance that is manned by AU. Now, what we're looking at is looking at how to actually get real-time data from the people who are immunized, rather than the delayed processes that are in place before. For monitoring of AEFIs in country, we normally use our AEFI reporting form that people report adverse events if they notice, which is the passive way of reporting. But we have looked at, for COVID-19 vaccine, which is a novel vaccine, we should not leave it only to passive surveillance system, but also to ensure that in addition to the passive surveillance system, there is an active surveillance approach to it, so that people can actually track all forms of adverse events associated with the COVID-19 in country. So that active surveillance system will help us actually follow up the patients, the participants, the populace that have received the vaccines, and be able to monitor real time and adequately what they have experienced. Because getting that safety data real time will actually give us a lot of evidence-based data that will help NAFDAC take informed regulatory decisions. We are actually identifying sentinel sites that we will use to follow up, recruit patients, like a cohort event monitoring, recruit patients that are coming to take the vaccines and be able to follow them up appropriately. So we have some technology-based tools that we're going to use to actually monitor and report AEFIs as a result of COVID-19. And in the active surveillance sentinel sites that we have been identifying, we also have a vaccine monitor, which people will be recruited before they receive the vaccine. And it is an automated process. So at specific intervals, they are prompted to report any kind of AEFIs that they have that they have identified after the receipt of the vaccine.
Here is where we draw the curtains on this edition of the program. Join us same time, same station next week for another informative package. In the meantime, if you have comments, complaints, or you want to report activities of fake drugs or adulterated food product peddlers, our doors are always open. You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email, reforms@nafdac.gov.ng, or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded. Remember, COVID-19 is real. Please ensure you and your family follow safety measures as outlined by the NCDC. Stay away from crowded places as much as possible, and if you must be out there, please wear a face mask. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water, and ensure you use only NAFDAC-approved alcohol-based hand sanitizers. See you next week. Stay safe.